the more interchanges and interactions that she posts with those children, is the more obvious it's going to be that she truly is a piece of work. There's an underlying threat of you better agree with me, and if you don't, and you better say what I want. And this comes across loud and clear. And to anybody who's had a narcissistic mother, I can tell you, they will say, my goodness, it's mommy all over again. She really should be clever and make sure she doesn't interact with those children.
Growing question marks over whether Meghan Markle faked this video with Princess Lilibet, which was the first time, by the way, that not just the world, but also her grandparents, her uncles heard this precocious American voice. And the reason so many people are talking is because of Meghan's interview with Jamie Kern-Lima, where she says beautiful in quite an interesting manner. Lady C, watch this.
I love when things look beautiful. And even when you don't have a lot, you're able to make things look beautiful.
And then, of course, this was Lily.
What do we think, Lily?
I think it's beautiful.
Are you buying that this video is genuine? Because we had Samantha Markle on earlier in the week, and she says absolutely not. And even Thomas Markle, according to Samantha, has cast doubt on the authenticity, especially given that, because if we look at the Instagram pictures, the hair color keeps changing too.
Well, Dan, I don't like being speculative, and hair color can, in different lighting, look different. But these are games that Meghan enjoys playing to get people talking. I will say that there's nothing unique about a child sounding like its parent. I mean, my father could never tell the difference between when I answered the phone, whether it was me or mummy. So I'd answer the phone and he'd start to speak to me as if I were my mother. And I'd have to point out to him that I wasn't mummy. So I think there, in families, especially with the same-sex parent, there can be genuine parallels, and especially, I would say, with a narcissistic mother, the children are more inclined to ape her at every turn, because that is a safe way of protecting yourself against criticism from the narcissistic parent, who is always going to be punitive and always going to be perfectionistic and always going to be looking to snipe. So
because other people, Lady C, other people listened to that video and said that, I mean, let's listen to it once more, because they said that there was almost like an undertone of threat in the way that Meghan was speaking to Lily. So let's listen once more.
What do we think, Lily?
I think it's beautiful.
Is that being unfair?
No, that I agree with. That I definitely agree with. I think, and I actually have commented upon this elsewhere already. I couldn't agree more. First of all, the way Meghan says it was so reminiscent to me of the way my mother would say things and the way we'd respond, that, and I mean, narcissistic mothers are great bullies, and they have you cowed and cued from very early on. And it doesn't, and the way Meghan said it, the way she asked the question brought no opposition or interference or anything but agreement. And Lily says, I said it's beautiful. So they've already done it before, and she is reminding her mother, I'm a good girl, mummy. And remember, those children call her mummy. Very few British children call their mothers mummy anymore. My children, for instance, call me mum. But Meghan, who's not British and who's snared and scorned the British way, has her children calling her in the old-fashioned way that, say, I called my mother mummy. And Harry and William called their mother mummy. It was a classical old-time upper-class thing that has died a death, incidentally, but clearly been revived in Montecito. But I thought, aside from that, which was a real time warp anachronism, I thought the underlying tone of that exchange was rather ominous. And I also thought and commented upon the fact that her interchange with Archie was also ominous. And there's an underlying threat of you better agree with me, and if you don't, and you better say what I want. And this comes across loud and clear. And to anybody who's had a narcissistic mother, I can tell you, they will say, my goodness, it's mummy all over again. She really should be clever and make sure she doesn't interact with those children, because in this, no matter what she does, she is exposing herself in much the same way that she thought she could bully her way at the palace and bully her way in California, and people would never find out about it. And they did on both sides of the Atlantic. Despite years of denial, people found out. And the more interchanges and interactions that she posts with those children is the more obvious it's going to be that she truly is a piece of work.
And of course, you know so much about this, Lady C, from a personal level. I mean, your book about your mother, and I think we have the front cover here, was daughter of Narcissus.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, you're speaking from personal experience here. You know how difficult that can be.
I am speaking from personal experience, and I recognize it, but I have to tell you, Dan, the comments, I have got thousands of comments from people on my channel who also experienced a narcissistic mother. And they have also said what I've said and what you, and the ominousness that you picked up. Yeah. It's so classical. I mean, it is just so classical, I can't tell you. But Meghan will never be able to conceal that, because the saccharine insincerity when she tries to conceal it will also be very evocative to all of us who have lived through the dire experience of having a narcissistic mother.
Absolutely fascinating. Now, Lady C, you speak about that moment where it's revealed to the world that the children call Meghan mummy, which she feels clearly uncomfortable about for all of the reasons that you'll suggest, given she wants them to be all American. But it's in this absolutely cringeworthy piece of, I guess, entertainment, set up entertainment, as if we're in some type of reality show like Big Brother, you know, where the contestants get letters from home. But it's interesting because what Jamie Kern-Lima, the interviewer, is clearly wanting is to get a emotional reaction from Meghan, but it doesn't really go to plan. Watch this. But first, the reason you're watching this show is that it's becoming increasingly difficult. I mean, look at everything we've been talking about. To trust mainstream media or the so-called fact checkers who claim to determine which facts are true. And for good reason, given the ongoing debates over free speech, the controversy surrounding Brexit, and how Trump and other anti-establishment politicians are portrayed. But I have the solution for you today. It's called Ground News, and it's the best way to stay informed and cut through media bias and manipulative narratives so you can get the facts for yourself. It's been a game changer for a news junkie like me. See for yourself at ground.news/outspoken. But I want to show you this incredible website and app in action. So let's take the recent landmark decision by the UK Supreme Court that ruled that women can only be biological adult human females, reversing years of trans extremism. And you can see clearly in one place that over 350 sources around the world are covering this story. Ground News instantly shows how the story is being covered by the media, broken down by whether it leans left or right, illustrated by its bias distribution chart. If you scroll down, you can see every headline about the story, along with the political bias and ownership of the publication. So we can see quite clearly for ourselves that on the right, the Daily Wire covered the case very accurately with the headline. I love this headline actually. UK Supreme Court rules trans identifying men are not women. Spiked Online. Oh, I love Spiked Online. They were even more forthright, declaring women exist. Get over it. And the Daily Telegraph looked in depth at the disgraced famous faces who declared trans women are women. By stark contrast, the left-wing National in Scotland said the result was only a victory for gender-critical feminists. And the ludicrous Canary ran with the clearly insane headline, "Victory for the far right," as Supreme Court rolls back trans women's rights by 2 decades. Far right. I mean, come on, you think J.K. Rowling's on the far right now, do you? They have lost the plot. My favourite feature, though, is their blind spot feed, which surfaces upwards of 20 stories daily that receive the majority of coverage from one side of the political spectrum. If you love the news like I do, the blind spot feed is the best way to get a balanced perspective on what's happening. So go to ground.news/outspoken or scan the QR code on screen to subscribe today, and you will get 40% off the same Vantage plan that I use for unlimited access. Let me repeat the address: ground.news/outspoken. But now, back to the show.
I love that your eyes are sparkling right now.
Oh.
You
have a letter from him?
I have a letter from your husband and your kids.
Oh.
It's actually from them.
Was this in the press also?
Via him.
Did this?
Nope, no one's ever seen this before.
Okay.
And I would love to share it with you. And if you feel comfortable.
Is this from this morning?
Share it with all of us.
Oh. From Archie and Lily via Papa. We love your cooking. We love your pancakes. And we love, love, love your hugs. You're the best mummy, and we love you. So sweet. I also love that it's mummy, which is very British instead of mommy.
British.
Oh, yeah, they're the greatest.
You know, and so it's kind of fun reading that to you about just how much he supports you and how proud he is with everything he's doing with Invictus Games and all the projects he's so passionate about. What are the best ways that you support him that he needs with all of those?
You know, I think a lot of it is being a soundboard, especially because I don't read media or press.
Yeah.
I'm a good barometer of just sometimes maybe just a very removed point of view because I'm only looking at it through the lens
ladies, I actually can't bear anymore. I can't bear anymore. I can't bear the voices of those two women. I'm sorry. But I played it, Lady C, because obviously you were referring to the mummy line. But the whole thing is absolutely bizarre, isn't it? Because Jamie Kern-Lena, she does get the tears from Meghan a little bit later on. But there's just zero emotional connection when it comes to that letter.
But the Meghans of this world can emote, but they don't actually experience, you know. So that's one of the signs of narcissists, especially narcissists with sociopathic tendencies. I think South Park did it very well when at the end of it all, Harry opened up the Meghan character and it was empty. She's very adept at projecting acts but she doesn't convincingly ever project emotion because she doesn't have emotion. This is one of the problems of people who have to endure the lacunae and the personality flaws that she has actually been condemned to live with. I mean, to an extent, we can actually even cut her a degree of pity, not sympathy, pity. But this is a woman who is going through life, never really feeling deep emotions, but pretending that she does. And, oh, so I'm going to show you how loving I am. I'm going to show you how this I am. But when the crunch comes, she can never respond naturally. And I think that's what we are picking up.
Well, of course, because everything in the independent media space is about authenticity, and she has none of it, which is why she should never have gone into it. Actually, weirdly, she was most protected, both as an actress and a member of the royal family. Lady C, I did think you'd be interested, though, in how many times Meghan was spotted touching her nose at the Time 100 event. Do you think she was suffering from some sort of illness? A cold, well, maybe.
No, she can't be suffering from a cold because this is a chronic feature of her mannerisms. It's one of her most pronounced mannerisms. It indicates that this is somebody who has issues with her nasal passages. Also, people who lie will sometimes comfort themselves with touching around the nasal area. But I don't think that's why she does it, because I think Meghan has displayed sufficient sociopathic traits for me to safely conclude that she would be very unlikely to be discomfited by any lie she was telling, which is, funnily enough, one of the ways that you can tell a true sociopath, because a neurotic, even a psychotic, will feel some guilt when they're lying. A sociopath feels none. So I think when people touch their noses, it's because they are either neurotic or just ordinary, and they know they're lying, or they're deceiving, or they're spinning. When she touches her nose, I think it's most likely because her nasal passages require some mopping up.
Yes.
And
well, we know she's spun a web of deceit. So if that is connected, then it makes a lot of sense. Lady Colin Campbell, so brilliant to have you. Of course, everyone must subscribe if they haven't already to Lady C's brilliant YouTube channel. And you know I always love having you on Outspoken, Lady C. Thank you so much. It's been a ride today.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan. As ever, it's always such a joy to be on with you.
As ever. I'm sure that wasn't said purposefully. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.